Is it good to study STEM in mother tongue? And a lot of people have been arguing this one, and people saying that, okay, why don't we do it? Because Germany, Japan, and China are doing in their own mother tongue, and why can't we do it? And technically, we will see what they are actually losing, what we are actually gaining by studying STEM in English. Welcome to askraghulan. Thank you for all the 11 support. If you like my videos, subscribe to the channel. And this video is sponsored by ormarado.com. You can find a lot of cool products. It's a company built by my channel subscribers. I made a company for my subscribers who wanted to build a company. Yeah, I'm helping them to be a businessman. Before we get through, keep the comments polite. Let's be intelligent, guys. Let's learn from each other. Okay, so STEM. So what is STEM? Science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. We are studying this one in English for almost like 50 years now, more than that maybe. But people are saying that, okay, why should we do it? Why can't we start switching into Hindi or Tamil or Telugu or something? We can keep it in our own language. Why do we have to study in English? And people always narrate an example saying that, okay, look at Germany, look at Japan and China, and they all studied everything in their own mother tongue, so they are growing, so why can't we? Okay, let us look at this video into two different segments. First one is like my personal experience with the Chinese, Germans, and Japanese, and then we'll see like why we should do in English or their own mother tongue. So first let's take Chinese. Chinese actually have a very specific problem, and that problem is not easily fixable. Actually, they are doing pretty well, including the problem, but that problem is actually causing them a major headache. I'll tell you why. In 2008, I stayed in Wollongong, and I did my master's in Australia, and that time my neighbor was a Chinese, and he is a good friend of mine. But almost 2 years I stayed there, and he was like a person who has got plenty of inferiority complex. Not because he's not talented, it's because like he cannot express himself, and people mock him for his language and things like that. Even Indians get mocked. Remember, guys, anyone who speaks a second language will get mocked. If someone speaks Tamil, they'll say like it looks funny. If I speak Hindi, then you guys will laugh. And same way, like if I speak English, and English speakers, native speakers will look at it as if like, okay, yeah, they can mock me. They'll say like my accent is thick and whatnot. But the point is like English is just a language. It doesn't actually showcase your actual talent or skill set. But point is like it goes beyond just a language. It affects someone's personal ability to deliver something. I've seen that. And another typical problem, because I used to talk a lot with him, and he used to have a very big difficulty clearing IELTS exam, because you need to clear it. And that's a big business, guys. I'll talk about IELTS in another video. Anyone who's trying to do and going for a higher studies, wait for my video and watch it. So he tried to clear IELTS like around 4 or 5 times, and he failed, and eventually he returned to China because he just couldn't clear IELTS. He cleared his masters, but he couldn't. Now he was just saying that, okay, now I got a huge loan, I have to pay it. Just like Indians, they have the same problem, but it's just their currency is in a better state compared to ours. But for us, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs loan is a very big problem. When I tell him that some suggestions, okay, why can't you watch some Hollywood movies? Because I used to, from my childhood, I used to see a lot of Jackie Chan movies and Van Damme movies and all. And why can't you watch it? There is Superman movies, Spider-Man movies. It's very nice to watch it. Even when I call him and along with my other friends, make him sit and watch movies, he couldn't even watch it. Why? Because in China, there is no social media. Like the ones which we watch it, like Instagram, Facebook, Google, and none of the social media is there. Even TikTok, they watch mostly the Chinese version of it. Even the movies that get released there, even Maharaja movie, the Tamil movie, which was a very big hit, and they watch in Chinese. Now, what happens is like when you're surrounded by this stuff, and when you have state censorship, which basically censors all the English content, and you don't use WhatsApp, you don't use Telegram, don't really have access to English, even in your school, then you're growing up like that for another 20 years. Then naturally sitting and watching an English concert or a pop song or a movie is not very easy. For them, it's like it's beyond boring. It's something that's unwatchable for them. So that's what I have saw. And I don't know about other cases, but what happens is like during those times, there will be like around 20 or 30 Chinese students, they go to Sydney to learn English. Many will actually finally will fail in IELTS and they'll go back. That's one of the reasons why Indians own majority of the properties in UK. Majority of the properties in Australia is, even today, this suburb which I live here, there is around 10,000 homes. You ask any Indian who's in Sydney, ask any suburbs like these, like western suburbs, who owns more houses. It's not because we are especially talented or something. Only thing is like the advantage that we have is like we are English speakers, and also like we have some other advantages as well. India has got a very good mix. Even though I speak about a lot about North and South, South we have a lot of white collar jobs, and North we have even the blue collar jobs, but a lot of businesses starts from North. So we have a very good mix. Anyway, now what happens is like they generally come here and spend money and then get the degree and go back, which is of no use for them. And that's the same thing happens in US and other countries as well. And another scenario which I'm going to narrate is like if you go to Alibaba, for example, right now you guys can try it. Go to Alibaba, and if you ask for any requirement, like say I want to manufacture something, you can see that they take so much time to respond back. And once you start talking to them technically, they will not be able to even answer it. They'll say like, I'll talk to my engineering team, I'll get back. And if you have any IoT guys here, you comment on this issue. you guys will have real headache on this issue. And now what happened is like, this is what we do. We build startup companies, and some of those startup companies involve IoT products. We build PCBAs. We tell schema, this is what we want, and we can even give them like a sort of like complete visualization of the key schema and all of those things. But even after that, there will be an English client, and of course, English people prefer Chinese compared to Indians, a little bit racist on that. That is why I let them feel the pain, and then they'll come back to us. And then what happens is, I always recommend Indian ones, but they'll go for the Chinese ones. What happens is, the work should take only like a 1.5 weeks or something to finalize a PCB, and then going for a prototype. And after the prototype, it generally takes around like few weeks, and then once it's done, we finalize it based on the prototype, and then we go for manufacturing of the first gen. Now what happens is like, this requirement phase will take from almost like 1 to 1.5 months, and this is a real scenario. Any IoT engineers, I want you guys to comment on this. And then Indian engineers, since I'm working, there will be obviously Indian engineers will be there, and our guys is like, there is one thing that we have to learn from this guys. Every time whenever I'm in those meetings, there will be around 5 or 6 Chinese will be there, and they don't speak English. The technical guys don't speak English. There will be one person who is a translator who speaks English, but who doesn't understand any technical, and that was a major problem. Now what happens is, let's say if I say, hi, how are you? You can translate that in Chinese and anyone will understand. But if I say transistor, and let's say transistor A, B or something, step down transformer, something, generally what you do is, you'll go to that particular translator will use an app, and then he'll find what is the Chinese word for it, and then we'll say transformer, he'll say transformer. And that word, when they study, the Chinese guys, when they study in engineer book, may not be the same thing. So that will be the problem, where the problem will start. And then imagine, we have a whole PCB, and if it is even of this size, and there will be at least like around 150 components. If you look at the BOM report, you'll see at least 200 components will be there, and all of those will have individual rating and individual color coding and all of those things in there. Now you have to drill down all those details, and then you have to go back and forth to get the data sheet finalized, BOM finalized and all. This will take for months. And what happens is, I will keep the client in loop, and then I let the client explain. I tell him that, okay, you understood what I need, right? You go and talk to your supplier. You choose your manufacturer, you go and talk. Now what happened is, like last 3 projects, the client will come back and say, okay, Rahul, this is too much headache for me. I cannot do it. You choose a manufacturer. So we started choosing manufacturer. Generally, I'll prefer Indian manufacturers. And now people who say that I divide India, the IoT engineers, they're from North. Even the software developers, I have all South Indians as well as North Indians. I don't discriminate on my company. Please don't use it. I'm not like a regular YouTuber. I'm trying to get some viewer attention. My concern for any of my videos is basically, this is what I think, this is what I see, this is what I feel, I say it. And if you don't like it, just say it. Like I might be wrong, I'll take it from you, but say it in a right way. And then like these guys will go back and forth, and then eventually they'll get it. But if you notice, one really good thing that we need to learn from Chinese is that meetings, almost like maybe around 50-40 meetings will happen. All of those meetings, client will get frustrated. Even sometimes I may get frustrated. Most of the time I'll be cool because I've seen these things. But my team will, most cases, will get frustrated because they're trying to explain again and again. They don't understand. They understood something wrong. They draw something and show you back. But they don't get frustrated because for them, they know the value of the opportunity. And none of those meetings, their boss will not be there. Their manager will not be there. Maybe a manager, technical manager will be there, but the owner of the company will not be there. All my meetings, I have to be there, because if I don't, our Indian guys are actually very tolerant. They are hardworking, but they can't really sit back and say someone's the same thing again and again, a different variation. For them is like, why do I care? This is the company's project. It's Rahul's problem. If I don't get this job, I'll go to another company. So they'll have that little mentality there, and the Chinese don't show that mentality. Sometimes I feel as if he's the owner of the company. He's just a staff. He just works for salary, but he behaves like a owner. He takes that opportunity so seriously. This is another thing that I want our Indian IoT guys to confirm this one as well, because this is a very striking thing which I always admire. Even though they are like frustrating, I mean, like for them, imagine money has to come to you. That is how you're gonna get paid, but that is not your money. It goes to your boss, your company owner, but you just work there. You might get another job, just same like another Indian guy in my team. But why you have to take so much pain, so much frustration, going back and forth, drawing things and showing this is what you want? Why do you have to take so much pain? They take their opportunity so seriously. They work really hard. That is something that Indians should learn. I will probably, if possible, I'll get some of those guys. I don't know if they will come. They don't even speak English anyway. But again, for example, German or Japanese. In Australia, German, Portuguese, they don't speak much of English. They speak like very broken English, similar to a Chinese or if any Indians coming from rural area, how they speak English, that's how the Germans and Greek people, Portuguese, they speak. But they get jobs because they have a white skin and a Christian name. So they get jobs. White people will give them jobs. For other cases like Japanese and Chinese, it will be very difficult to get jobs. It will be very difficult once, if they don't clear IELTS, they'll go back. So they are losing. Germans and Japanese, they're actually making English compulsory, and Chinese also teaching English. There are a lot of English schools there. And even if you look at China, for example, the struggles which I'm talking about, it is all in mainland China because they forced Mandarin throughout to China. And if you look at Hong Kong and Singapore, they are pretty well. You go to any country, if you ask your NI friends if they have any Chinese friends, ask them where you're from. If they're doing a very good job, nice fancy job, white collar job, ask them where they're from. Either they're from Singapore or from Hong Kong or any of those states where they have like Hong Kong was actually ruled by Britain like a 2-state policy or something. So they had a lot of English influence there. And Singapore is completely like any other country like India where they have English as a mainstream of medium of education, and their education is very good. And TikTok CEO is in Singaporean and he speaks a very good English. I'm not saying that okay, English is best. Again, other people will come and say okay, English is colonizer language, why you're sympathizing with that. Guys, I don't really give dash about English. For me, it's just a language to access the knowledge. If English is not here today, I'll go and learn German tomorrow to access the same knowledge. I don't really care. And also, I worked in a lot of research projects with a lot of these universities and stuff that involves a lot of other language groups. And whenever these people come in and they have very difficulty participating in conferences, because there is a lot of conferences and symposiums and things like that will happen, and people need to attend to get a credit system in Australia. The same thing I think will apply to other criteria. So even doctors in India should, I think, do that regularly. Now, when you're actually learning all of this in a local language, even say Tamil or Telugu or Hindi or something, and you will understand all the technical terminologies. Let's say if it is a capillary rising, centripetal force, and you name it anything, any technical term, you convert that and you actually have a local term for it. And now if you go to a conference, if you're looking at a white paper, and if you're looking at a scientific journal, and all of those things cannot be converted. No, not everything can be instantly converted into your own language. Now you will have a roadblock reading through all of those things. Technically, your knowledge, your experience is going to be lesser than what people are actually consuming it on a daily basis. And I don't want that to be a roadblock for us. So keep language sentiment separately, because language is really good for your literature, your culture, tradition, everything is in your language. So keep that separately, and then your STEM is where you earn. India today earns like around crores and crores of rupees with the crores and crores of people. Look at our employment rate. Tamil Nadu has like around the lowest, I think, around like 4.2% or something. If you look at any state which doesn't have English fluency, the unemployment rate will be higher. And why Tamil Nadu is lower? Because we get jobs from overseas. Like I'm in Australia, I get my job here because I can speak English. I can go to a company here and I can say boldly saying that okay, hey guys, I can do all of these things. Give me a job. I can do this job. I can confidently speak. It's like even if I don't have a skill, I can still confidently speak because I have a confidence in my language. I'm not saying English is the best for now. English is where you can consume all of this knowledge. You need this knowledge to build your skill set. You need your skill set to earn. You need to earn to build. You need to have a decent lifestyle. Okay, so guys, I might be wrong in a lot of these things, and I'm not saying I'm 100% right. So correct me if I'm wrong. Let's learn from each other. Keep the comment section polite. We'll catch up again in another video, guys, and thank you so much for all the love and support, and cheers.